Hi, everybody, and good morning. Welcome to our week number 2. This is my Intro Psych online classes live stream. It is the 20th of January, a Thursday morning, 11 o'clock. That's lots of dates and times and information there. But good morning. I see a lot of you logging in, getting your names put into the chat. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being on here with me. I am grateful and excited for your company. Someone let me know? Can you hear me and see me? Okay, everything looks good on my end, but someone could let me know in the chat if you can hear and see me just fine. That would be fantastic. Sounds good. Yep. Okay, great. Okay, good. Everything good. Yes. Okay, lots of yeses. Thank you so much for letting me know. We are in week number 2. So just a quick kind of overview of what we're going to do. We don't have nearly as much to cover this week because we don't need to go over Canvas and the syllabus and all of that stuff. But what I will traditionally do each week is I will start by going back a week, and I will go over a little bit of feedback from last week's materials, what I saw that was good, what I saw that could maybe be a little bit better. And then from there, I will go over the requirements for the current week. So kind of reviewing what we have going on and what is due this week. I will give you some reminders, the Twitch extra credit question, and then at the very end, I will leave some time open for questions if you would have anything that you would like to ask me. I'm glad it's working better, Chase. Sometimes if you log out and log back in, that corrects video or buffering issues, and unless it's our internet, and then there's not much we can do, right? But I'm going to go ahead and go over to Canvas, and we'll talk about all those things together. And if you're joining me for the first time today on here, the chat is the way that you communicate with me. So if you have any questions or thoughts or comments, please feel free to put them in there. I love it, and I would be happy to try and answer them for you as we go along. So if we head over to Canvas, and I remember I have 2 sections of this class, so if the number at the top doesn't match up, don't worry about it. We are, as I mentioned, in week number 2. But let's go back to week 1 and take a look at the materials from last week, just as a quick review. So last week we were covering the history and scope of psychology, kind of an introduction and an overview of a lot of topics that we'll cover more over the course of the semester. I hope you read the ebook and watched the lecture videos and all of those materials. Discussion number 1 is the thing that the big thing that you had last week that was graded. And so just a couple of pieces of feedback about discussion number 1. Overall, I was really happy with what I saw from a lot of you. There were a lot of A's on the discussion, lots of 13, 14, and 15 points. Melanie, you're having a hard time hearing me. You might try exiting. I guess if I'm telling you, that probably doesn't help. Try exit out and come back in. Come back in. You could see if that helps a little bit. Sorry if you have issues with those things. Sometimes that helps. But I was really impressed. A lot of you talked about, some of the things you thought of with psychology and some stereotypes and like notions related to that. Those were interesting to read. The great job on the subfields and talking about, like what is an area or a career, and a little bit about that topic. Where I saw people struggle a little bit was on this third bullet. Some of you did a fantastic job, and I loved your responses to the quote. But I wanted you, as it said here, to define nature and nurture and then describe what the quote means. A few of you forgot to define nature or nurture, so you lost a couple of points for that. But what I saw that was kind of interesting is several of you defined nature and nurture a little bit incorrectly, maybe thinking about it outside of the context of our class. So some of you define nature as like animals, trees, plants, things that are outside. True, but not so much for our purposes. For our class, nature has to do with genetics and what you're born with naturally or what you come equipped with. And nurture is more your experiences and your learning and the environment, and things that shape you, that might be interacting with your nurture. So a lot of you did a great job with that, but that was probably the number one reason people lost points, not quite defining those correctly or not replying to the quote. In general, I did give a handful of you the piece of feedback of give me more. I wish you had elaborated a little bit. Make sure that you're answering the questions fully, that you're showing off your knowledge and comprehension of the materials. If you think about these almost like a little mini paper rather than a discussion, maybe that's helpful. But make sure that you're always responding in detail and elaborating. Better to give me too much than not enough. So if you didn't get enough uh, detail in there, you might have lost a couple of points for that, or if you maybe got the definitions wrong or something like that. The other thing that I saw, if you look at the instructions up here, remember that in addition to answering my questions, the other thing that you need to do is this part right here. I'm going to highlight it. You need to read through a minimum of 5 of your classmates' responses and then reply to one of them. Some of you forgot to reply to a classmate, and the post in general is worth 15 points, right? So the discussions were 15 points in total, 13 points for your responses to my questions, and 2 points for a response to a peer. So just make sure that you're always also replying to one of your classmates so that you get those 2 points. They're kind of an easy 2 points to get, so you want to make sure you get them every week. But as I said, a lot of you did a beautiful, beautiful job, and I was very happy with a lot of your posts. If you ever want a little more feedback on your grade, you can always email me. I grade you with a rubric, and then I typically put some comments underneath, especially if you lost points, so you can understand why. But if you ever want a little more feedback, you can always email me. If you're confused on how to get full points, you can check out the discussion rubric and sample to see what I'm looking for. I also sent out in this week's announcement how to find your grades. And that's under Help and Campus Resources right here. But if you click on this page, grades, timing, finding your feedback, and using them as a learning opportunity, if you were having a hard time finding your scores, I did make a little like 2-minute video on how to find them. And so hopefully this will be helpful for you. Shows you the rubric I'm using, how to find your grades under the grades tab over here, and then reminding you just to try and use your grades constantly as an opportunity for growth, right? If you got full points, keep doing the same thing. If you wish you had done a little better, maybe elaborate more this week. If you forgot to respond to a peer, make sure you do that this week. So if you can't find your grades, this video might be helpful. Always be checking your grades, right? If something is wrong or if you have questions, you can always reach out to me, and I am happy to explain or help you out and get it fixed, whatever the case might be. So the other thing from last week, a lot of you did the extra credit question. That makes me happy. It's a bonus 2 points. If you do these all semester long, it's like 32 or 34 points of extra credit. That's a lot. So please take advantage of that. I'm glad that so many of you did. I did post a recording, and I'll do the same today. It takes a couple of hours for me to get it onto here. I have to download it and then upload it. But I teach 7 different classes. So make sure that you're always watching and joining the right live stream. Like this is for my online versions of Intro Psych, but I do have several other live streams that I do. I'm sure you get messages that I'm on Twitch. So make sure that you're always checking the titles, watching the right streams. That's really important so you're not confused. And in an effort to help you with that, I'll always post the recording of our stream here on our page. And you can see it at the top, Intro Psych week number 1 live stream with the date. So make sure if you miss this or something cuts out or something you have to go early, you can always watch that recording later on. And I'll do the same. I'll post it on week number 2 when I'm able to post that for you later today. So before I move on to week 2, I'm going to put this here in the chat. Are there any questions, comments, thoughts, anything that you're confused about in terms of the class and organization or materials, anything I can go over for you before we move on to week number 2? And again, if you have thoughts or comments or questions, put them in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them. And if you're feeling good, that's great too. I can't see you, so I don't know. I just keep asking. But you can always email me if you're ever confused, or this is a great time to interact with me live and ask those questions while we're together. So I'm just going to wait just a few more seconds just to make sure. Otherwise, we will move on to week number 2. Looks like hopefully that means all of you are feeling good. You're not confused. I'll take that. That's great. This week we move on to psychology as a science. Okay, Bucks or Rams? Oh my gosh, don't get me started, right? I have a bad feeling that the Bucks are going to lose, and I'll tell you why. The Rams have an amazing pass rush, and 2 of the people who protect Brady from that amazing pass rush are hurt and probably won't play. So I have a bad feeling that my poor little favorite player who's old and shouldn't get hit too much is going to be pummeled, and that makes me really sad. So I'm a little worried for my Bucks, and the Rams are such a good team. Little Cooper Kupp is so much fun to watch. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. And the Patriots, yeah, they lost. I've moved on from the Patriots because I'm a Tom Brady fan. But yeah, it was some interesting games this last weekend, and this weekend, wow, the Chiefs and the Bills, that should be a great game, and the Rams and the Bucks, great game. Looking forward to the games this weekend for sure. Sorry, I was focusing back here. Somebody asked, I'm a little confused on how the extra credit questions work. So what I will do every single live stream, and which is what we're doing now, I will give you an extra credit question toward the end. And you go to the optional extra credit assignment for that week to answer it. And so it's a 2-part thing. You join me live, put your name in the chat. Unless you're subscribed, then you don't need to do that. And then you can answer the question on here for those 2 points of extra credit. You do have to get the question right, but I grade them throughout the week. And so if it's incorrect, I will often let you know, and you should have plenty of time to try again. So I'll show you the extra credit question for week number 2 in a little bit, and I'll show you how to answer that. So hopefully that will answer it and clarify it for you just a little bit. Okay. All right, so week number 2, we're talking about psychology as a science. We're talking about research methods. Maybe not the most exciting topic to everyone, but I think it's interesting. I hope I can impart some of that excitement and interest to all of you. But couple of things. So order of business number 1, you probably want to read the ebook chapter. All right, so read the chapter in the ebook on chapter 2. Read through everything, check out all the boxes and the video images and everything that's on there. I think it's a great overview and a great place to start. After that, you have 2 other lecture materials to do. You have the written chapter 2 lecture on here. So let's take a look at that together. Remember that these lectures are always 5 tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here at the top. Page 1 is always going to be objectives and summary, and you can read it or you can listen to it if you'd like to listen to it instead. Page 2 is always going to be beyond the book. And one of the topics that I go into a little bit more here is pseudoscience. And we talk about the differences between science and pseudoscience in this chapter. And I have this great little video on aliens, something you might not have thought you would be watching for this class. It's broken into 2 parts, but I hope you watch both of them. It's about 10 minutes in total. But great little videos, an opportunity for you to think critically about the existence and proof of existence of aliens. There's some great little characters in these videos, so I hope you take a chance, take the opportunity and chance to watch them. I also made a short little video about correlation versus causation. Probably one of the key concepts from the chapter this week, the differences between correlation and causation. So any videos or links in here, click on them, explore them, watch them. All of that together is going to be helpful for you. In pop culture, I have some suggestions of things in pop culture that relate to our topic. Really, really interesting and easy read of a book about science and pseudoscience. A couple of fun shows that highlight testing things scientifically. Page number 4 is going to be all of the key terms that you need to know from this chapter for the exam. So our first exam will come up in week number 4. If you wanted to prepare a little bit at a time, These are the terms that you need to know for the test for chapter 2. And I gave you the terms last week for chapter 1. So it might not be a bad idea if you wanted to review or study these right now. You could do a little bit at a time to prepare. And then on the last page, oh God, I'm glad you're excited about aliens. And then on the last page, we have application, thinking critically for this one. Now that you've read the materials in the book, how can you apply them to your life? And so here we're talking about being a critical thinker. So make sure, again, that you go through this lecture, watch any videos, click on any links. All of that is going to be helpful. For your extra credits, you have to submit your answer on Canvas as well. Yes, so that's how I'm grading you. And again, I'll give you the question and show you how to do that in a few minutes. Okay. The other lecture component that you have is the lecture video that I made for you. So here is a video of me lecturing to PowerPoint slides on chapter 2. So I'm covering some of the core concepts in the chapter. This is something you're going to want to watch. You probably want to take notes and pay close attention. The materials that I cover in here will definitely be on the exam. So this is something that should be helpful for you in understanding the topic and covering some of those core materials that you'll find on the test. So remember, with every chapter, read the book, watch the lecture video with the PowerPoints that I'm lecturing to, and then also 3, read the chapter and click on and watch anything that is in there as well. Every single week, you'll do a discussion. So this week, discussion number 2, if we were to click on that. Discussion number 2 is all about research methods. And at the top here, I have your instructions. Watch my little video. I try and highlight the topic and give you some more information. Answer my questions. Don't forget to answer a classmate or reply to a classmate to get those full points. Remember, this is worth 15 points in total. So here's your questions that you're thinking about this week, and you'll definitely want to do your reading and lectures before you answer these. But once you're ready, you're going to pretend for a moment that you are a psychologist and that you're going to conduct some research on literally anything that you would want. Okay, this doesn't have to be related to psychology. It can be about anything, right? How many people have had COVID at least once? How many people are rooting for the Rams this weekend, right? How many points are they going to score, right? That would be a hard one to answer, but I'm thinking football now. But it could be related to anything. It could be a survey where you ask people some questions to gather information, or you could set up an experiment. What if you wanted to know, for example, does drinking a cup of tea versus a cup of coffee before bed affect how well people sleep at night, right? That could be an experiment that you set up. So you can come up with anything. The first thing that you'll answer is, what would you be interested in studying and why? If you were to conduct some research, what topic would you examine? Be specific. What would you want to know? Describe the questions you would want to answer and why. Elaborate, right? And this is, again, your opportunity to show me that you're reading, that you understand and can apply the materials. Number 2, describe how you would examine your topic. So you're linking this to the materials in the text and in the lecture. What type of research method would you use? How would you set it up? Would you ask questions if you do an experiment? What are your different groups? So make sure you're describing how you would answer the questions that you came up with. The third part, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Maybe there are some limitations or ethical concerns, and if so, how will you address them? Again, with all of these, really elaborate. Make sure that you're answering these in detail. It's better to give me too much than not enough, right? And especially in these early discussions, I'm grading them a little more rigorously because I want you to understand and get those standards so that you have them for the semester. So when you're ready to answer that, you'll hit reply, and that will bring up a text box where you can type your answers. Wow. And hopefully you spell answers right. Answers. And not a bad idea to save this, right? Just in case for some reason, it gets lost or it doesn't go through. Always save a copy of your work. And you'll notice a couple people have done this already. So let's say I want to reply to Zachary's post or Amy's post. I could hit reply afterward, and that's where I would comment to get those 2 points for the peer response. So don't forget to not only answer my questions, which is your 13 of the 15 points, but also to reply to a classmate to get those 2 points of credit as well. Those 2 points will add up, so you don't want to miss out on them all the way through the semester. Okay, so those are the big things: reading the chapter, completing the lecture materials, and discussion number 2. I want to talk about the extra credit question here in a moment, but I do have a couple of announcements and reminders. Are there any questions for me at all before I get into that? Any questions about the materials for this week or last week? Any comments, thoughts, questions, anything from those of you who are on here with me? While I'm waiting to see if you have anything, let me give you a couple of reminders, and I'm going to put some of this in the chat here. Please don't forget, if you have the chance, please take a little bit of time to make sure that you have subscribed to me on Twitch if that's possible. Again, I never, ever, ever want you to pay for this. College is expensive enough, so don't pay for this. But if you're able to take a few minutes and link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you can do this for free. I've talked a lot about that. Let me show you one more time where you can find those instructions. If you scroll up here, here's the page, subscribing to my Twitch and YouTube channels. And I'm sorry to keep bringing this up. I'm going to really harp on it this week one last time, just to make sure that you're set for the semester, because I'm going to use Twitch all semester long. But I gave you step-by-step instructions on how to do this. And again, please, please do not pay for this. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can simply follow me. That's fine. Or I sent out a link for free student Prime for 6 months, which is kind of a cool freebie that you can take advantage of. But I have step-by-step images here for how to link your accounts together. And then the last step is you go to my page and then subscribe to me for free. There's also a video here that I posted. The only reason I'm pushing this, there are two. The first one is it saves me an incredible amount of time. I have 300 students and only like 40 something of you have subscribed. So if you subscribe, then what I can do is download a list of people who are on here afterward. And that saves me just so much time instead of highlighting and finding your names individually. And if you're subscribed, you only get the one ad at the beginning, right? Rather than being interrupted with ads, which I can't stand personally. So I just think it makes it smoother. And again, it helps me so much with the timing. So thank you so much for doing that. I had somebody ask me, there's one last step that a few of you haven't done. And somebody sent me an email. So let me see if I can show you. But if I scroll up here for a moment, if you look at the chat, Marcus, for example, Anna, let's see, Solomon, sorry if I said that wrong. There's a few of you who only have the little crown next to your name. And what that means is you did the hard part. You linked your Twitch account to your Prime account, but you didn't go and subscribe to my channel. So I just want to show you really quickly how to do that. And then we'll move on from this topic because I don't want to spend any more time on it. But if you are on my on my page here, right? And it's funny, you can watch me watching, look at, it's like a million me's, too many windows at one time. But if you're on my page, there's this little purple drop down bar that's underneath the video. And if you click on it, I don't think I can show you on my channel. Let me go to I'm going to go to my friend's channel here because I can show you on theirs, hopefully. These are my buddies. They're big streamers. They play a lot of video games and they're really fun to watch. But right underneath that main thing, there's this purple bar, and I hope you can see it on your end. But if you click the drop down menu, it's going to bring up this page, and they have a lot more like stickers and emotes than I do because they do this for a living. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, they hide this at the bottom to make it a little bit confusing for you. There's this button right here that you click that says use Prime sub. And hopefully you can see, I can at least see that you can see the screen that I'm looking at now at the moment. But if you click that little checkbox, it allows you to use that free Prime sub. See the little crown right there? And then you hit subscribe for free with Prime. And it's only good for 30 days. So you have to renew it every 30 days. But it definitely is nice to have it for free. So again, please don't ever pay for this. I don't want you paying money. But if you can take a few minutes to figure that out, I would really appreciate you doing that. It makes my life a million times easier. So those of you who I mentioned, those of you like Solomon, Caitlin, Anna, Marcus, those of you who just have the crown next to your name, please take a moment and do that last step. Look, you just figured it out. And that way you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, if you scroll farther down, right? So click on the drop down arrow, right? So I'm trying to help you here. You actually already did it, right? So you're already done. I am Jennifer. I like that. I know who you are, right? I am Jennifer. You already have the crown next to your name. So, I mean the football cake. So you're all set to go. Again, that's enough time on this. I don't want to harp on it, but I just want to make sure you're all set and squared away. And then I'll remind you every week just to double check that it hasn't expired. Okay. So the other reminder that I have for you, our next, yeah, after you're subscribed, it says gift sub. If you wanted to give one to somebody, don't worry about that. But that means you're subscribed and you're set to go. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Thursday next week, Thursday 1/27 at 11 o'clock in the morning, just like this week. And it might change after that. Okay, so next week we'll stick with the same day and time. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with whether or not we go back in person or if we stay virtual. It doesn't affect our class, but it does affect my schedule quite a bit. So I will let you know if anything changes, but for now, plan on next Thursday at 11 o'clock. That won't change. And so that will be our week 3 live stream. I hope that I will see you there for that. The other thing I want to do is give you the extra credit question and show you how to answer that. A few of you had questions about that today. So in order to get the extra credit, 2 things. 1, you join me live. So if you're watching this live, you've done number 1. Make sure that you put your first and last name in the chat. Unless you're subscribed, then it downloads for me and you don't worry about it. And then the second part, the part that I'm actually grading and giving you points on, is to answer the question that I give you every stream. So your extra credit question for this week is, what is meant by the phrase correlation does not equal causation? Explain and give an example. So I'm going to put that in the chat. What is meant by the phrase correlation does not equal causation? Explain and give an example. And you can find the answer to this in the lecture video and also the chapter, the little video that I made on Canvas. When you're ready to answer that, you'll go back to Canvas. And since we are in week number 2, you'll click on optional Twitch extra credit number 2. And when you click on that, it's going to bring up this screen. It has the instructions in case you forgot. And then up at the top, you're going to click Start Assignment. And that brings up this text box where you can type your answer. Okay, so that's where you're going to go ahead and answer the actual question that I gave you. The correlation does not equal causation. Explain and give an example. Once you've answered it fully, you hit Submit. And it's going to give you that little confetti burst, which I don't know why I find so rewarding, but I love it. And this is due before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So you have all the way till Sunday to answer this and get those 2 points. If you answer it early in the week and get the question wrong, I will let you know, and you can always try again. But you have all the way till Sunday night to take care of this and get that done. Again, it is under the corresponding week. So we're in week number 2. So this is where you would go, the optional Twitch extra credit number 2. And then when we are done today, I will post a recording of this just like I did last week. It just takes a couple of hours for me to get that up onto our site. So those are the big things for this week. Read the chapter in the ebook, watch the lecture video, read through the chapter 2 lecture, discussion number 2, and then if you want to earn those 2 points for being here with me, you can do the optional Twitch extra credit number 2 as well. Yeah, if you're having trouble with your Wi-Fi, you can always log out and come back in. If you missed part of this video, you can always watch it later. Again, I will always post the recording. Traditionally, I'll post it on YouTube. It's a link to a YouTube video. That way it's easy to watch on like your phone or from wherever rather than having to log into Canvas. Okay. So I think those are all the main things that I wanted to cover. Make sure you look at your grades from last week. If you ever have any specific questions, email me. get going on the materials for this week, ebook, and then the lectures, discussion, and so on. And then our next live stream will be on Thursday at 11 o'clock next week. So those are all the big things. So I'm kind of done with the official content of our live stream. So if you need to go, you're welcome to take off. Thank you so much again for all of you joining me. Thank you for those of you who took the time to figure out the Twitch subscription. And again, those of you like Bernaldo, you just put your name, but you need to do that last step that I talked about. Please take the time to do that today if you can. But otherwise, take care of yourselves. Try and stay healthy as best you can. Enjoy the awesome football games this weekend. I will be holding my breath for Mahomes and the Chiefs and Brady and the Bucks. Those are my guys. But we'll see. And I just hope they're good games. And again, take care of yourselves. If you think of any questions, feel free to email me. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for about the next 9 minutes or so. If you do have any questions, this is a wonderful time to ask me, as I can respond to you in real time. But otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to minimize this. But again, I am still here for a little bit if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week. And I will see you all on Thursday morning next week. Thank you as well. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome for being on here. Thank you for being on here as well. Of course, I'm glad to have you all. I know it might seem like a little thing, but I'm so excited that so many of you joined me. So thank you so much for being on here with me. It makes it feel so much more interactive. So thank you again. Yes, extra credit. Quick question. Yes, the extra credit from week number 1 been graded. Yes. So it's a little confusing, Chance. The extra credit is worth 0 points. Technically, you'll get a score of 2 if you get it right, but it's worth 0 points. That's how it's coded in the gradebook. But yes, every Monday night, I will grade the materials from the previous week, and you'll get an email from me highlighting some feedback and so on. So if yours has no points, you might go check the feedback. Maybe you answered the wrong question or didn't submit it, or if I missed it for some reason, you could send me a quick email, Chance, and we could take a look at it together. But go double check your grade book if it still says 0 or you don't have a 2. See if there's any feedback. Otherwise, email me and we can take a look at it together. Because yes, I have definitely graded them all at this point. Okay, good. 2 out of 0. No worries. And it's worth 0 points. I know that's confusing, but if you get it right, you do get the 2 points. And then it's a bonus 2 points, and they're added to your grade as extra credit. Oh, thank you for checking. I'm glad, more than anything, I'm glad that you are checking your grade. That makes me happy. So nice job. And of course, no worries. And for everyone else, I am still here. If you think of any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, if you think of something later, you can always email me. Perfect. You're welcome. Have a wonderful day for you as well. And it looks like there's actually only like one or two of you left on here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this up so that I can start the download and upload process so that you can watch it later if you want to. But if you think of anything, of course, send me an email. Have a wonderful week. Take care of yourselves. And I will hope to see you next Thursday morning.